Good evening and thank you for joining us. More expert testimony today at the trial of Benjamin Marki, the man accused of killing Wilfred Pott and Ann Chuchmuch in December of 2015.
Two witnesses, both experts in the field of fire analysis, confirmed that gasoline was heavily involved in the blaze that torched their Brant Street home. Carlisle Fazette has more.
Deliberate. That's the word used to describe the circumstances leading to the fire that damaged the home of Ann Chuchmuch, Wilfred Pott, and Benjamin Marki. Jason Williams of the Fire Marshal's Office testified on day 4 of this second-degree murder trial as an expert in the field of fire dynamics. According to his testimony, it's impossible to determine for certain what specifically started the fire, but the presence of gasoline and the general shortage of any combustible materials near the ignition source indicated to Williams that it was intentional. While the most significant charges Marki faces are, of course, the 2 counts of second-degree murder, he also faces a charge of arson. The court has already heard evidence that Ann Chuchmuch and Wilfred Pott were dead before the fire would have affected their bodies. Another expert witness in the field of chemistry confirmed there was, quote, quite a bit of gasoline on the shoes Marki was wearing on the night of the fire. However, during cross-examination, the witness clarified that there was no way to know how long the gasoline had been on his shoes, as it can linger for days or weeks in cold temperatures if not washed. Gasoline was also detected on several items that were found near the body of Chuchmuch. Her burned remains were discovered in the laundry room of the residence, which experts confirmed was the location of the fire's ignition. The court also heard from one of the investigative officers for the first time. Sergeant Sean Whipple testified that he did notice an aroma of gasoline on Marki the night of the fire, becoming the first officer to offer such evidence. He testified that Marki was their only suspect throughout the investigation and that he was under covert surveillance for at least 2 weeks following his release. The Crown anticipates it will call its final witnesses on Monday. Carlisle Fazette, TBT News.
As Thunder Bay Health Sciences Center officials continue to battle the VRE outbreak that was declared more than 2 months ago, there's now a new viral outbreak at the facility as well. And while this new enteric virus, as it's known, does have the potential to make more people sick, it's a fairly common outbreak that should be brought under control much more quickly than the VRE. 7 units inside the regional hospital are dealing with the VRE bacterial outbreak that was declared back in early February. And now a new viral outbreak has gripped another hospital ward. The enteric virus can cause nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. The good news, however, according to Dr. David Gregory Gamble, is that this type of outbreak is much more common and more easily dealt with.
You see these outbreaks quite often in the nursing home setting. And so this is something that we're actually a little bit more aggressive in terms of putting the lid on.
As for the ongoing VRE outbreak, Gamble admits it's taken longer than expected to eradicate the bacteria, which is found in the gut, but can then be spread to the surrounding environment where it becomes problematic.
We've got a few wards that are close to coming out of outbreak. The process is fairly rigorous. We have to have all patients screened on a weekly basis, and we need 2 weeks of no evidence of transmission on those wards before we can actually lift the outbreak status. So we have fairly stringent criteria in order to take a unit out of outbreak.
Gamble notes only 1 person has actually been infected with VRE, causing health problems, but a handful of others each week are identified as carrying the bacteria.
It's not, like I said, a particularly virulent pathogen. It's just that we don't want people to be acquiring this organism in our hospital.
It's unclear when outbreak status will be lifted. Hospital visitors are reminded to thoroughly wash their hands when entering and leaving the facility.
Extensive damage is being reported following an overnight fire at a Northside townhouse. Fire crews were called to the John Street residence shortly after midnight. They arrived to find heavy smoke and flames coming from the ground floor doorway. Initial reports indicated as many as 3 people could be inside, but a search of the structure showed it was unoccupied. 5 pumpers, an aerial ladder truck, and command unit were all dispatched to the scene to battle the flames, along with 23 firefighters. Officials say there is heavy damage to the first and second floors of the townhouse. The cause remains under investigation.
A small protest led by a disgruntled business owner took aim at the Fort William Business Improvement Association this afternoon. Over a dozen participants rallied in the heart of the Fort William Business District, spearheaded by local property owner Lisa Paris. Paris is upset over what she says is mistreatment of the BIA members by the board. She alleged special privileges have been given to certain businesses based on their political affiliation. Former BIA Chair Shelby Chung was specifically named for her involvement. Paris claimed that after trying to settle disagreements in-house, some members were shut out of a board meeting.
We have a board who are a volunteer board, and we commend them for that, but they are not putting the hours that are needed in to be able to run this board in a proper fashion. We need people on that board who are going to take the time and ensure that this year wouldn't be the second year that we did not have quorum at our AGM.
Chung responded by saying she's confused by Paris's claims and apparent hostility and insists the BIA will run as usual. Chung also encourages community members to run for positions on the BIA board.
Students and community members at Confederation College are standing up against racism and speaking up about mental health. A large crowd of students and supporters joined together for a unity walk through the streets around the college property this morning, an event called Stand Up, Speak Up. The Stand Up campaign was launched 4 years ago in response to some racially motivated social media posts targeting Aboriginal people. This year, organizers added the Speak Up initiative in an effort to encourage anyone suffering from mental health issues to come forward. Elementary school students from the Lakehead Board also took part in today's event. Stand-Up coordinator Ashley Nurmela believes the movement helps.
To our youth, it shows that an average person can do it, because oftentimes you think you need to have money or you need to be, in a position of power. You don't. You can make a difference.
We can reach our young youth to state to them, or basically for them to just say, you can stand up, you can speak up, you have a voice, and use it.
Students at McKellar Park Public School took part in an annual powwow today to promote cultural pride, respect, and health for young people and the community as a whole. Students and faculty, parents, and even Thunder Bay police officers joined members of Biwasaya to participate in traditional Indigenous dances. The powwows play an important role in Indigenous heritage. They're also a lot of fun for the kids. McKellar Park Principal Joanne Gertuga says the annual powwow is a highlight of the school year for most McKellar Park students.
They absolutely love it. They're asking me almost every week, when are we going to have our powwow? They are very enthusiastic. They're not afraid to get up and dance. They're not afraid to take part. They're always very happy to participate, and they want to participate.
I think it's really cool because we're learning about this, and then we can actually start to see it all come together, what we've been learning about, and I think it's really cool to tie into what we're learning about.
This is the 5th annual powwow held at McKellar. The Biwasaya group offers a wide variety of programs and services for Aboriginal youth.
Theatergoers are in for a treat tonight at the 6th annual 10x10 play showcase is back once again. Only this time, playwrights will be presenting their works on stage at Magnus Theatre. A total of 35 plays were submitted for this year's showcase, and only 10 were selected. Each play is 10 minutes long and has up to 4 different performers. A total of 70 artists are involved in this year's showcase, which includes playwrights, directors, actors, and technicians. Artistic director Kathy Winslow tells us what viewers should expect from this year's 10x10 performances.
There are comedies, dramas, a little bit of science fiction, there's a thriller, some folk legends, so it's a nice mix. They're all from northwestern Ontario, mostly from Thunder Bay, but we have some from the region as well. So we have 5 returning playwrights this year who've had quite a few plays produced. We have 5 new to us this year, brand new playwrights. Our opening play is going to be a play that was the very first one ever written by that playwright, and we have Jordan Leto, who's had 5 plays produced by us before, so there's quite a variety.
This evening's show is sold out, but for those interested in purchasing tickets for Saturday's shows, you can still do so by heading online to buy tickets or at the Magnus Theatre box office.